66 million years ago, North America, also known as Hell Creek, the stomping grounds of the tyrant lizard king, pop culture's most beloved dinosaur. However, even the king of the dinosaurs struggled to maintain its crown. Nature's most perfect predator had to compete day to day with creatures that pushed the limits of evolution itself. But could fiction create a killer capable of surviving this hellish place? Could ARK's Raptor survive, or would it die? Raptor Prime, or Raptor for short, is a small-sized predator that roams the beaches and forests of the island, being one of the most valuable things in the game due to not only their speed allowing them to escape threats much bigger than themselves, but also the fact that they are able to hold their own against similarly sized opponents. Another interesting factor is their speed. Overall, the Raptors in ARK are able to run at speeds of 21 to even 22 miles per hour quite consistently. However, their higher sign of intelligence is definitely the pack hunting behavior they exhibit. While this can be argued to be more primitive as mobbing, it's unlikely due to the fact that the animal rightfully benefits from being near other members of its own species, indicating that it is necessary biologically, not like other predators in ARK who don't really become stronger in a pack, while the ARK Raptor does. Another interesting thing about them is how adaptable they really are, as they are one of the few creatures in the game that can be found in all maps, including from the simple island to all the way up to extinction and aberration. All of this shows that despite not being the sharpest tool in the shed, these guys are definitely crafty and skilled enough to survive even one of the most demanding and toughest environments the world can throw at them. This segment will specifically see how well they handle the environment, and I don't think it's a stretch to say they'll probably be at home here. The island is also somewhat similar to the Hell Creek formation, many coastal beaches, closed forests, and even marshy swamps filled to the brim with nightmare fuel. As such, Hell Creek would not be a challenge at all to get accustomed to, and the fact that there are no super duper fantasy creatures for them to worry about, this would be a welcome surprise, especially for them. Giving the ARK Raptor a 5 out of 5 for environmental adaptability. This category will explore the Raptor's ability to acquire food for themselves. Despite the most well-known herbivores of Hell Creek being multi-ton herbivores, there are smaller animals that the Raptor could definitely prey upon, that being the Ornithomimus. While the Ornithomimus is significantly faster than the Raptor, the fact that the raptors are intelligent enough to set up traps, I don't see them going around the speed advantage quite easily just by the sheer intelligence. And while the Ornithomimus might be familiar with something like that with juvenile tyrannosaurs, I think the extent of the Raptors simply outweighs their speed, and while they somewhat are experienced to it, they wouldn't be so experienced to completely avoid any trap that they make. However, one of the most interesting scenarios to explore would be the relationship between the Pachycephalosaurus and the ARK's Raptor, as these two would probably have a very interesting dynamic. While a herd of Pachycephalosaurus would likely be safe from a pack, a singular Pachycephalosaurus would stand no chance even against two of them. So how do I see these two finding each other? The Raptor has superior size, experience, and definitely strength on its side. So in a 1v1, depending on the circumstances, realistically, a Raptor should be able to dominate a Pachycephalosaurus. But a herd could definitely scare off a pack, given that they would likely not risk injury to any members. Now let's not beat around the bush anymore. Could the ARK Raptor take down a multi-ton herbivore like Edmontosaurus or Triceratops? Well, the answer is yes. But there's a big catch. While they are significantly more powerful than the real animal, that strength would not be all that great in comparison to the real animals of Hell Creek. But could they take down a fully grown Edmontosaurus? And just a reminder, the 50-ton Edmontosaurus was just a single individual and not the average. The actual average for Edmontosaurus seems to be the 3 to 6 ton. But how could such an animal take down such large prey? Simple. A lot of cooperation in combination with their attack speed, as they attack with high ferocity and intensity against other animals in their verse. So, maybe an average Triceratops may be safe from a small pack, but a decently large pack would definitely do a number on it. Now granted, they would not be common choices. They would likely be the last resort, and would only be chosen by large packs who have a lot of experience and feel very, very bold. So in the end, they have a plethora of food items to choose from, and the risk of injury from any of them is rather minuscule when you include a pack. While solitary raptors may struggle, the packs would definitely have an easy time. Large herbivores would definitely not be a common choice, but in desperation, always resort to either the Edmontosaurus or sick Triceratops. Giving the Utah Raptor a score of 4 out of 5 for food source. Decently sized pack would definitely not have to be afraid of anything that's roughly equal to them in size, be that the giant Quetzalcoatlus or even the Nenotyrannus, which has been recently found out to be a valid genus now. Juvenile Tyrannosaurus would definitely be quite the annoyance, as some evidence points at them also being pack hunters to a lesser extent than the ARK Raptor, but a gang war would definitely ensue between these two factions. However, the most likely threat to both sides would definitely be the apex predator of Hell Creek, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. These guys need no introduction. Strongest bite force, largest theropod of all time. And no, some random fragmentary Carcharodontosaurus from, I don't know, fucking Thailand that's only described as a single toe bone is not larger than T-Rex. Sorry. Jokes aside, how would the dynamic between the Utah Raptor and the Tyrannosaurus play out? Obviously, the Tyrannosaurus has a stronger bite, it's larger, but not as agile, not as fast, and definitely doesn't have the same amount of experience the average ARK Raptor has. However, I can see this relationship being somewhat similar to the hyenas and lions, in which the larger predator will usually bully off the smaller predator after kills. After all, if they somehow recognize this Tyrannosaurus as being somewhat similar to the Tyrannosauruses of the ARK, they would definitely be more afraid and try to run a fade with it. To summarize, this would definitely be the type of coexistence wolves and bears have. The pack hunting animal usually runs away from the much larger and bulkier predator due to the fact that while they can take it down, they would not risk a family member or a few that may not even go their way. The only real predator that holds them back is the Tyrannosaurus, but outside of that, they are such an oppressive force in comparison to everything else that the only right score would be 4 out of 5 for competition. If the Archaeopteryx was a solitary predator, it would definitely struggle a lot more. It wouldn't have access to as much prey options as its actual pack hunting counterpart. But due to the fact that they actually hunt in packs, this opens up a whole new spectrum, allowing them to tackle so much more of the ecosystem that basically the entire thing becomes a buffet to them. And while the only opponents they would have is the Tyrannosaurus, they are not getting anywhere near the status of apex predator due to the fact that they are not as well equipped to take down multi-ton herbivores, rather casually or as effectively as the Tyrannosaurus is. But hey, why don't we do a little bit of speculation? Let's say the asteroid never hit, and these large dromaeosaurs and every other creature in Hell Creek got a second chance. So, what about a little speculative evolution? As the time went on, the raptors realized the value in size and raw strength, and thus a new species was born. The first of the bunch is Raptor Rex Hemokyrus, or the fifth king with terrible hands. Just like their actual ancestor, Raptor Rex hunts in packs, usually 5 to 8 individuals who always go for the multi-ton herbivores of the region. Despite their large size, these guys are actually rather agile and fast for their size, still having the same absurd strength of their ancestors, now adapted to hunting large game. Even Tyrannosaurus prefer to avoid contact with large packs of these, for even the mighty Tyrant Lizard King bails in comparison to a large pack. Many confrontations and skirmishes usually end with the Tyrant Lizard King being heavily wounded. Evolution is so unpredictable that even the things we take for granted are not always the rule. Sometimes exceptions exist. Sometimes there's things that we might not even imagine. While many dromaeosaurids were considered mesopredators that fill the niche of the smaller predator in the environment, some of them specialized under very different scenarios and very different diets, bringing us Ecyoraptor vocalis, or the vocal fish thief. Due to the fact that many of the crocodilomorphs pose no threat to a pack of them, many raptors started to adopt a fish-based diet, thus bringing us the Ecyoraptor. These animals are just as social, if not more social, than the actual Utahraptor. Just like their ancestor, these guys live in large packs, even larger than their ancestors, living upwards of 12 individuals within a pack, all of them helping each other out in what can best be described as a village of fishermen. And while they lost a lot of their size, what they make up for it is with their vocal cords. These animals have been able to weaponize their vocal cords to an absurd extent. Not only can they use this as a defense mechanism against creatures such as Tyrannosaurus by mimicking the sound or even using high-pitched sounds to scare it off, as it would really tax the Tyrannosaurus instead of hearing, but also utilize this as hunting prey, as they can imitate the sounds that frogs make, attracting large fish to them, allowing them to snack upon them. And while they're definitely not as big as Raptor Rex, they are still quite an endearing force that puts fear into the many other theropods due to their sheer size alone, even though they are much lighter in comparison to everything else. With the rise of Raptor Rex, many of the smaller ornithistines were left untouched to be preyed upon by the actual predators of the environment. But such an opportunity presented itself, and it was taken in the lightning catch. Producing one of the fastest theropods of Hell Creek, Tyrannomymus brontopodus, or the Tyrant Mimic with Thunder Beat. This name was given due to the sheer speed these animals can achieve. In exchange for losing a lot of mass and overall bulk, these guys became one of the fastest theropods in Hell Creek, being able to reach speeds of over 45 miles per hour. To the fact that Raptor Rex became a predator of multi-ton herbivores, it left the niche for the other Utahraptors that haven't evolved to become more specialized in catching fast prey, Ornithomymus, Pachycephalosaurus, and even Anzu.
While they are significantly lighter, they don't rely on a pack anymore, as many of them are now solitary. If you have gone this far into the video, I must sincerely thank you for this. This is my first time doing such a long, edited video like this. While the footage may not be as high quality as I wished it was, unfortunately that's the way it is since it's my first time doing such a relatively long video for someone like me. But hey, maybe next time we'll have more quality and even better footage. But anyway, that's it for today's video. Thanks to you and everyone who watched it. See you guys later.